Great. Well, like I said, welcome to the Coastal Crab class. My name is Emily, and I am the wholesale manager here at Meadowbrook Gourds. And Amber, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Amber, and I am what we call a gourd beautician. And so I do a lot of what we're going to be doing tonight. Um, Basically making the gourd come to life. So gluing things together, putting scarves on, just all the final touches to the gourd. So,
Great. And Meadowbrook Gourds is the world's largest gourd farm and gourd crafting company in the world. And we craft all sorts of really cute designs out of gourds every single day.
mhm.
And I actually, as a fun note before we start, we craft over 150,000 gourds a year. Uh, I just figured that out last week, and I'm pretty proud of that. So now we get to craft a couple more here with you guys today.
Yeah.
So Amber is going to go through all of the parts
mhm.
and also all of the supplies that you may need to grab before we get started. So would you like to
Yeah.
do that for us, Amber?
Sure. I'll go through the parts since you guys are all kind of sitting and you have your stations there. Your stuff came in a big bag like this. In that big bag, you would have gotten this would have been outside of the bag, I believe, and I think that's it, right? That and this maybe. But then you had a little bag, and then that's where all the other pieces are. So you should have two Q-tips, a paintbrush, your paints. This is your little glue container. You should have two balls. So what did you say? Like, I don't know what you call those.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sure. And then you should have this piece, which that is the gourd and the body of the crab. You should have two eyes, as one of them rolls away. Thank you.
Careful to not lose your eyes.
Two eyes, and then you should have a little base. So, a couple things that you might want to grab before we get started is some water, plate just to kind of dump the paint out. Just makes it a little easier than working out of these paint containers here. Some paper towels. We use baby wipes. They actually take the paint off really well if you make a mistake on your gourd or like on your hands. They work wonders. If you don't have baby wipes, that's okay. Another thing that I do want to mention before we get started, there is a little mouth on this gourd here. And if you have like a fine tip Sharpie at home or just like a regular Sharpie, it's going to be a lot easier for you to draw that mouth on with one of those. As I was looking through the packet of stuff here, I was like, I think they would appreciate me saying that if they have that at home, which I feel like most people do. If you don't, that is a-okay. I'm actually going to show you how to do the mouth with the back of one of our Q-tips here, the wooden part. So you'll want to keep one of your Q-tips specifically for the little mouth that we're going to do, and then the black part of the eye as well. So you want to keep that for one of those, and then the other one will be used for glue. Other than that, if you don't have a part, just let us know, and we'll try and get that to
Mhm.
you.
Yeah, you can email Dory, who is the person that sent you these instructions, or message us on Facebook or give us a call and we'll get those parts out to you.
Yeah. So the first thing that I want us to do is I actually want us to go ahead and glue our crab together.
Okay.
I feel like that's going to make it way easier. Um,
Because that's what you do at work, right?
I
In
do,
production.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah, that's how we do it at work. So yeah, so we're gonna just take our tacky glue.
Which is the bright white one that's all by itself.
Yes,
Don't get those mixed up.
we're gonna take our Q-tip, and I want us to put. So what I want us to do is I'm going to have you put a good ring of glue around these two holes on the very top. Those are for the eyes. I don't want you to put the eyes on just yet. We're gonna let that sit, and I'll tell you why when we get there. So go ahead and put glue on there,
Okay.
let them go, and then we're gonna put glue in these little slits here on the side, and that's where our arms are gonna go in. And then once we get the glue in there, then we'll put our arms in, and we'll just wait to put the eyes on. So
Okay.
So we're gonna go ahead and do that.
So how much glue do I need to put in this socket so that I
And
don't have gloopy eyes?
so you don't have to worry too much because we are going to paint over this. But if you have like too much glue, you will see like a ring of it. It'll just, I don't know.
We can always wipe it off.
Yeah.
And are you putting it so it's the inner edge of the gourd? So where it's
Yes.
like the cut parts. So not necessarily on the outer shell of the gourd. Okay.
Correct.
Can do that.
You do want like very little thin line on the outside of that, but mainly in where the rim of that is.
Okay. Can you show everyone what yours looks like up
Yeah.
close?
Just like that.
Okay. So that is a lot of glue on the outer edge that I wasn't expecting.
You just want it so that whenever you sit the ball right on there, that it will act like soup, it will hold.
Okay.
But tacky glue does dry clear. It's just it'll be globby if there's too much there. So, like I said, just put the glue in the eyes, let them go, let them sit for a little bit, and then we're gonna go ahead and glue those arms in. And it's the same thing. I'm going to just cover that hole in the side and then take my little arms. Now, when you put these in, you want to make sure that you put the side that has the lines on it facing you. So that's going to be the front of the claws there.
Which will be the one with the two eyes.
Yes.
That's the
yes.
face.
That's yes. So then you'll just stick them in. And you'll see that some of the glue actually does push through.
Okay.
So just go underneath there and kind of like rub the glue around just so it like holds a little bit better. And then we'll do our other side.
And so I can kind of position these however I want my crab to be, right?
Yes. Yep. So if you want one up or one down, however you would like your crab to look.
And it's okay to use a little force, or should I be very careful?
I would be careful.
Okay.
And I say that because this gourd here is very, very fragile. So you do not want to squeeze it. Otherwise, you will just snap it. So I would
So-
definitely be gentle.
An interesting fact about gourds is that the thickness is determined by, well, genetics, but also weather when they are grown. This particular type of gourd that is used for this just generally grows with a much thinner shell. But gourds really love dry climates. And last year we had a little bit of that dry climate and our gourds really liked it. And so we have some of our martin gourds, which are their pear-shaped gourds, they grew with a really thick shell. And our crafters use a jigsaw to cut out their designs. And the shell is so thick that they have to go really slow. And so it adds about 45 seconds to some of the designs that we create with our jigsaws, which doesn't seem like a lot, just, when you're making one product, but they make 100 to 200 at a time. So it's very interesting that the weather can determine how quickly we can craft our gourds and how hard it is. We try very hard to keep, a nice sturdy thickness, but not too thick so that we can cut it.
Yeah.
So you never know when you're crafting with an organic material like gourds, what you're going to have as like a good thing or a challenge every year.
Yeah. One thing that I do want to mention that I just did is I actually flipped this over on the inside where the claws actually went in. I took some of my tacky glue and just covered that entire area in there. I just really I don't want them
Can
to
you show the
be
camera?
yeah. I covered I really covered them.
Those claws are not coming out.
Yes, that's so when we do these in production, we've gotten them so that they are like really loose. And I've noticed that if I put a bunch of glue on the inside like that, it fixes it and they'll hold just fine. So I wanted you guys to know that and be aware. Keep your Q-tip here. We do need to glue our little gourd down onto our base. So keep that handy because we will do that. And I think by now our little eyes could go onto our piece here.
Okay.
So to explain why I had us wait a little bit is because tacky glue is very runny and it doesn't set up right away. So when I sit it like this and it gets a little bit more tacky, and these eyes then won't fall off. So I really wanted to make sure that they weren't going to fall off. So we can go ahead and put them on though.
Okay.
There's no rhyme or reason with the eyes. Whichever one you want to go on one side and one on the other, it does not matter. And it doesn't matter where on the ball you should place them. It's just they go right on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that stuck really well. If yours are not sticking well, just give it a couple more minutes before you do. And then can we clean up the glue globs that I have? I'm messy. So I have a couple glue globs down there. Should I clean those up or is that okay?
I think that's okay because I
Okay.
have them as well. Yeah. But if you would like to clean them up, absolutely, you can go ahead.
Yeah, just like that. So Amber says that's okay, and
Mhm.
she's the expert. So
Yeah.
we're gonna trust her.
Yes, because we're gonna cover it up with paint anyway.
Okay.
But I really think it should be a-okay as long as, yeah.
Good. I really want this to turn out.
Okay.
I'm giving this to my aunt who lets me stay in her beach house, and it would be perfect for her beach house. So I'm very excited.
So the next thing while we wait for these to dry, I'm gonna have you just set that kind of to the side.
Okay.
The next thing that I want to give you guys the option is this little disc that this is going to sit on. They are just natural. So on the original that we have here, it is just this natural disc color. It's just wood. But if you would like to paint it, I want to give you the opportunity now to go ahead and do that.
Hmm.
So this is just like, it acts as if it was sand that they were kind of sitting on. But if you want to, this is our white color and this is our black. And we're not going to use a whole lot of those two colors. So you're more than welcome to use those. And if you have any colors at home, you can absolutely use those. This red color is going to be used for the entire crab. So I would, if you choose to do the base in this red color, what I would do is just paint the outside rim of this disc. That way you don't use too much of this red that we don't have enough for this guy. So yeah, I'm gonna have you do that now. That way we can glue him onto that base
Great.
once we're done painting
Well,
him.
I like the idea of painting him a sandy color
Yeah.
of our white.
Yeah, and our
Right
white's like
into
an off white. So
Is this the white that we use for all of our white boards, Amber?
yes. Yeah.
So yeah, our white, I think people think is the pure white, but it's really more of an antique white.
Yeah.
It's
And
very
a lot of
nice.
people get confused too whenever we have classes because we give you an option of having the pure white and then our white, and you see our white and you're like, oh, that's really creamy. But it actually is our white that we use on our gourd. So it's kind of cool. So
Yeah, it's a nice optical illusion.
yeah.
We have quite a few of those as well. We sell kits on our website so that, you do our Zoom classes, but we have our kits as well. And a lot of people will purchase dyes to dye their own, which we just don't have the opportunity to do in our Zoom classes, which is a bummer. But our purple dye, and a lot of purple dyes, when they brush it on, it is green. Yes, it is a dark, deep, like golden color of green. And so we get a lot of calls and emails like, this is not purple, but I'm sure that there's like chemistry that makes it work. I say it's magic, but when you put the polyurethane on it after it dries, it turns purple.
Yes.
And so this is kind of like that. It's like a nice little optical illusion.
There's a few other of our dyes that I know, maybe it's just a purple that I'm thinking of. I think it might be our green, our certain green that does that. It looks almost blue. And then once you spray it, it like really brings out the green.
Yes, I like this a lot. And I'm kind of doing a really like a light coating, almost watered down. So you can still see a little bit of the wood grain. I think it looks really nice. That was a good call, Amber.
Yeah, thanks. I am just painting the rim of mine for right now.
Okay.
Just because I want it, since the top's gonna be this color, I want the rim to be that color too. So
I am noticing though, with the rim and the way that these are made here, that it does not absorb the paint as well.
Mhm.
So, it would be totally fine if you added a second coat, right?
absolutely, I think I'm
that?
on my third one.
Luckily, this paint, if you do it nice and light, dries quickly for more paint.
Yep, and the only thing we're using this white paint on is the little fleck in the eye of our craft, so you can absolutely use as
No.
much as you need there of that.
Not gonna lie, I'm very nervous about doing that part. Hopefully you have some really good tricks.
Yes, I
So
agree.
in production, when you are doing like the flex in eyes and lines like that, what kind of tools do you use?
So normally I will use, it depends on the surface of whatever it is. So like this here, I would use something completely different than I would use on, because it's wood.
Mhm.
If it's wood, I use a toothpick and with
Okay.
paint. So I use this same paint color and I use a toothpick and I will use that. But with a gourd, they're a little bit smoother and I don't think they absorb as much of that paint. And so I will use like a little paint marker for
Oh.
that.
Do you do we put our white paint in paint markers? Is that like a thing that we do?
So we actually found a marker that has are very close, if not the same color of our white. So that's what we use. And I think because if it's just a little bit off from what we use, it doesn't, you can't tell because it's so little of like a little marking. But yeah, once you get your little disc completely painted the way you want it, you just set that to the side.
Okay. I think that really finishes it off and makes it look really nice.
Yeah.
And this is where you could get creative, and put if you have like sand, you
Yeah.
could sprinkle on there with a little bit of glue or within in the paint,
Hmm.
and really make it your own
Oh yeah.
if you want.
That would be super cute. If you do that, like sprinkle over it with, I would wait until we actually put glue our crab on there, just because I'm afraid that if you put any kind of texturized thing, this crab won't sit flat on there and it might not glue.
So wait for the crab to be completely dry, and then you could
Do the outer.
do like a little bit of
Mhm.
sand. Awesome! I
Yeah.
might do that.
Yeah. Still painting away here.
Okay. Great.
So yeah, I'm just gonna set that to the side and I'm gonna clean my paintbrush out.
Okay.
Okay, and I think we could actually go ahead and start painting our crab. And I will just show you how to do the painting on it so that we don't disturb the gluing and the drying process of that. So I think it'll be very good to treat it.
I also got my own.
I don't want to leave
Okay,
this, yeah, I don't want to leave a circle on the, even though there's already other paint there. That's okay. Okay. So you'll still need that same paintbrush. But this time we're going to use our red paint. And what's really nice about having these three colors is if you want to make the red like a brighter color, you can mix some of the white in it, or if you want it a little bit darker, you could absolutely take some black and mix the black in there. So I would just go ahead and dump all of that red out onto a plate.
Scoop it out with the paintbrush.
I'm just gonna flip mine over and then scoop the rest out with the paintbrush. And I think we're gonna use a good bit of it. If not all of the red paint.
Okay. And what kind of paint is this, Amber?
So this is like a regular household latex paint that you would use to like paint your walls. Because gourds are like wood, and so where I guess when you're painting a wall, it would be more like drywall.
Well,
But yeah, so we just use that, and it's really nice because it already gives it like a little bit of a shine to it, so you don't have to spray it with any kind of sealer because it has it within the paint already.
wonderful. I was wondering why our sample was so shiny, but that makes sense. Oftentimes we use a mixture of latex paint for a lot of our boards in our production, but we also use craft paint, and you can use any type of paint really
Absolutely. Yeah.
for a board.
Yeah. Okay, so to hold your gourd, like I said, be very, very careful because these gourds are very fragile. But I'm going to actually stick my hand underneath here. Just be careful, you don't stick it in your glue. If you do, it's okay. Just, you can just wipe it off. But I'll just stick it and I'll spread my fingers out, and that's gonna give it like a good hold there. And then I'm just gonna go ahead and start painting. When you get to be around like your eyes and stuff, just don't put a lot of pressure is what I would do.
Now, as far as how much paint should I have loaded on my brush? Should these be thin coats?
So I already had since we just used our paintbrush, it was already kind of damp.
Okay.
So I just would make sure your paintbrush is not dripping wet. It's just a little damp. And then tap it into your paint and then just start painting.
Is it going to be a problem with how we're doing this all together? If I have paintbrush strokes that I don't like, can I add a little bit more water?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and that's what I would do if you're having too many paintbrush strokes on it, is I would add some water to it.
So just do the body first and then the walls and
Yeah.
the pinchers. And
Yeah, you
eyes.
can do the eyes first. It honestly, however you want, and you don't have to paint the bottom side of this, because it's just gonna get covered up. But like I said, just be careful around the eyes, since we did just glue them in. I think the claws will be just fine. I don't think we have to worry about them. It's just these eyes that I would just be a little bit more cautious with, and I would get around the eyes as best as you can.
And should I get the paint? So we have these little lines on the claws. Should I be getting the paint in those or avoiding them or?
So there's not a great way to avoid getting paint in your little cutouts there. So yeah, I wouldn't avoid it.
Just maybe water it, dip the paint down a little bit.
Yeah,
I have lots of questions, Amber.
that's okay.
I'm gonna do
So
a really good job.
there's another thing that you could do to help prevent a lot of that paint getting stuck in there. And what I just did is I took the end of my paintbrush and went right into the lines there and just kind of like rubbed it out or dabbed it.
Okay.
And that really takes it out. Great. And it's up to you if you would like to, as I drop it, paint the very end, like the sides of your claws.
They are already dark. So
They
you don't
are.
have to if you don't want to, huh?
Yeah. I just feel like it makes it a little bit more complete if I do, because there gets some paint on there and then you can tell. So I like to just paint all of it. And I'm going to paint both sides of my little crab here.
It looks like my paint is a little bit uneven. Can we do a second coat? Is that okay?
Absolutely. Yep, I think that's what we're gonna have to do, because I also think that it needs a second one. So we're gonna do the first coat, and this first coat actually is drying really fast. So,
If you come to our classes often, you might notice that we are determining whether a second or third coat is necessary. And that's because again, they're a natural product and every gourd shell, especially between the varieties, has a different porosity. So
yes,
they're all going to take the paint a little bit differently.
yes.
Um,
Just like
so
wood.
yeah,
I
just
feel
yeah.
like the different types of
So
wood takes it differently.
so Amber might be a professional, but sometimes you have to change your plan based on the type of gourd and
Yeah.
the project.
And this is a new product for this year. So I have not actually worked with this product too much. So yeah.
So it's like a special limited. We don't make these normally in production or like keep them in stock. So they're
Mhm.
just like a special treat for this time of year. Oh,
That's okay.
I'm gonna save it.
Yep. If you do that, that is a-okay, especially if it's the same color paint that you're using. If it's not the same color paint that you're using, that's okay as well. Take a paper towel or a baby wipe it off, and then go over it with the color that you're actually using.
Okay, good to know because I am messy and clumsy apparently. So while we're painting this, I'll give you a little inside scoop as to what we're
Yeah.
working on here at the farm. So if you're local, our summer celebration is coming up next month. It is July 13th. And our summer celebration is an event at the farm where you can come and make your own bird houses, butterfly houses, bird feeders here with the help of our team. We also have over 20 artisan craft vendors, I believe over 6 food trucks, live music. And new this year, we are having Highland cow petting with goats and bunnies, which I'm very excited about.
Very excited.
And also, this is like exclusive, like no one knows this, but you guys, I'm going to tell you the secret. We have been growing a little over an acre of wildflowers. And so you will be able to at the event, as long as, it's a test, as long as they are going well, which they are right now,
Mhm.
you will be able to pick free wildflowers out at the event. So we're really, really excited. And I think that's all the things,
I
right?
think we're doing
Oh, and the OOP sale.
Oop sale and the
Yeah.
trolley rides.
And the trolley rides. Yeah. So our OOP sale, we have about 3 annually, and all of the products and designs that Amber or anyone else in our team may have made like a little oopsie on,
Mhm.
like me dumping my product into the paint here. We keep all of them and we sell them at a discount in our tent sale,
Mhm.
and that will be happening at that event too.
Yeah.
So
And we say like an oops, but most of the time, whenever we have customers come out, because they still are um, priced for what they're worth. And a lot of people can't tell what is wrong with it. It's just we, as people that work with them and know what they're supposed to look like, don't want to send a product out that doesn't look exactly like what they're expecting. So that's why we send them to the oops, and we will sell them
yeah.
through the
Yeah,
oops.
honestly, they might not even have an oops, but maybe
Mm-mm.
one of the gourds was just like extra tubby, and so the
Yeah.
piece looks a little bit different than the others. We like
Yeah.
them all to have personality, and they all look different, but sometimes that happens.
Mhm.
And sometimes we just made more than we needed, and there's
Mhm.
nothing wrong with them.
Right.
So
Or
that
we
happens too.
got rid of them from
Mhm.
last year and we put them in there.
Yeah, so that's really neat. So I don't know. Have you all been making lots of little oops back there? Or are we gonna have a full tent?
I think we will have a full tent. I don't know. We try not to make it. So when we get that question, we're like, I don't know. So yeah, I just did it, Emily.
Oh my goodness. Hold on to your crabs. Don't be like us.
That's okay. I was ready. Mine was pretty much dry to do the second coat. So I'm gonna just use it as my second coat. Great. How's yours coming?
I think I'm ready for a second coat too, because as I'm painting, it's drying. It's a little tricky to get around the eye
With the claw.
crevices, yeah, with the claws there, but it's
Yeah.
going pretty good. And they're holding well. If their eyes would happen to fall off while they're crafting, what
Mhm.
would they do?
So if
Or while
you
you're painting?
are if you are painting over your eyes and you can see them wobbling, what I would do is I would just hold them. Hold your bottom of your gourd like this and hold the eye in place, paint around it, and then go back and touch up that spot.
Okay.
But if not, I would just let them dry a little bit longer before you go to paint them. But they should be good.
Yes, Amber is not kidding when she says they try not to make oops.
Yeah.
Our all of our crafters, Amber included, are have a very flexible schedule because they have a goal and are paid via piecework. But they get a what we call an excellence bonus for all the designs that they make with no errors, right?
Correct.
So we try our very best.
So like Emily was saying, if we would make a mistake, we would just get docked that excellent pay. Which honestly,
Well, it's like a bonus, so you're not like making
Exactly.
less, but you're not.
yes, it's more of like Emily said, it's a
Yeah, you just make less bonus.
yes, which is okay because they don't even have to do that, but they do. So
I have to let mine dry a little bit for my second coat. I started, but it's getting um. So if you're like me and you have to wait for yours to dry a little bit, I also Dory was so nice and she grabbed all of the upcoming classes for me to show you because I know some people were very interested in some of them. Um, so the first that everyone has been asking us about is this little guy. Um, he is our new Christmas elf, but he has legs and he's posable. His legs bend, they are wire. And he also can sit on a shelf with a battery operated tea light. He has a work base. Um, and he's like a little elf on the shelf made from a gourd. We have this class happening on our farm on July 27th. I think it's sold out, but we might add a second class. But if you're not local, many of our Zoom participants have been asking to have a Zoom. So we are planning on doing one in November for that. So he will be something that you can do. I think he's super duper cute. I hope we like actually make him as a design in our catalog because I love him so much. Um, and then if you're local, I don't know that this will become a Zoom class because it's so large. For shipping might be a little difficult, but this is Henry. He is a jack-o'-lantern that also has arms that are posable and legs that are posable. And he is such a giant piece that he makes like the perfect fall centerpiece. We, for our sample, have him painted all orange, but you in the class will have the ability to make him whatever colors you would like. And so he is really, really cool. And that class is August 17th on the farm. If people are interested in doing him on Zoom, please let us know. You can email Dory or message us on Facebook or give us a call. And we can try our best to make something happen or make him slightly smaller so that he can easily fit in a box with all of his pieces. But I think he's very, very cool.
Yes.
I might actually sign up for that class to do it myself. And then back to Zoom. In August, we are making a fall gnome. And the cool thing about this fall gnome that you'll get to do is that if you can see there, let's see if I can get it there. His beard is textured. So we are going to send along all of the supplies to make your own gnome with his little textured beard and the fluff and the whole 9 yards. And because it's Zoom, we will obviously send all of these paint colors along, but you are welcome to bring your own to the class and make him match your decor, or you can even change his seasonal look if you wanted to make a spring gnome or a winter gnome. Though we do have a really, really pretty winter gnome in our
We
catalog
do.
that's new this
It's-
year that we might have a class on too. But yes, that is available, and that will be, like I said, August 20th. So those are the upcoming classes that we have planned, and we have been working ahead trying to plan out what our classes are going to look like for the rest of the year. And I think there's some really cool things coming that I just don't have
Yeah.
samples up. We're really trying to come up with some really cool new things for this
Mhm.
year.
Yeah. With this piece here, I think 2 coats will work just fine. I did finish both coats on mine, so I'm just waiting for mine to dry a little bit. But what I would do is when you're working on your second coat, I would just touch your eyes a little bit. If you think they need a second coat, touch them at first. That way they can dry and we can go ahead and finish the eyes there. And then we are all done. Once you get done with painting your red, we are all done with our big paintbrush. So you can set that to the side.
Great. Okay, one moment. It says our battery is low and I don't want to lose you. So I'm all done with my second coat.
Oh, perfect. Okay. Do you think your eyes are good and dry?
They could probably use another moment,
Okay.
but if you wanted to start sharing the process of doing the eyes,
Sure.
I think they'll be ready here in just.
Okay. And if you guys are still painting and everything, take your time. This is recorded, so if you need to look back on it, I think it'll be sent tomorrow.
Tomorrow morning. Yep.
Okay. So what I'm doing for the eyes, I'm taking my black paint, my second Q-tip, and all I'm gonna do is I'm going to just paint a big black circle.
I'll share this sample with you. And again, it's your crab, so
Yeah,
make
it's
them as bigger as you want.
yep. And I'm taking my Q-tip and I'm literally making a circle right onto the eye.
Any tips on making a perfectly round circle? I'm really nervous.
So, like I said, I just take my Q-tip and run it around in a circle. And
And
normally,
should they be like, look at it straight on and just,
yeah,
okay.
I think so. No, I'm moving mine like all different ways because I didn't get mine completely in like a perfect circle as I did it the second time to make it bigger, but that's okay. And honestly, if it's not a perfect circle, that is a-okay because I don't think a crab eye is completely perfectly circled.
No, they kind of have goofy eyes that wander all over. So if
Yeah.
they're not exact, that's just more realistic.
Yes.
That's how I'm going to look at it.
Yes. And even if they're like not the same size from one to the other, that is a-okay.
Are we going to do a second coat on these, or should I plan on making them perfect in one coat?
So as I'm doing them, I'm noticing that I can see some of the red through them. But honestly, I'm going back and I'm taking some more paint and just kind of dabbing it to cover that up very lightly. And it actually looks okay. So I would just try and make it like a super thick coat. That way we can let it,
And just dab on more paint.
yeah, in the areas that it would need. And again, if you have a Sharpie at home that you would much rather use the Sharpie to do this, you are more than welcome to. And if you have a smaller paintbrush at home, you can absolutely use a smaller paintbrush, whatever you think would be easier for you. I'm just going to show you how to do it with what we've supplied to you.
So when you're making larger eyes like this, do you use a Sharpie at like on our products? Or would you use a paint or some sort of special tool that I don't even know about?
So like I said, I have not actually really touched these things. I made this original for you guys today. So I'm still kind of testing it out. This original, I used our paint marker. That's in the back. And the coverage is not 100% either. So I'm going to actually be testing it tomorrow. Whether or not
Are you making these tomorrow?
I am. Yes.
Cool.
I'm going
So
to.
this is like your test run for actually making a product.
Yes. So tomorrow I'm going to use regular paint and I'm going to like this black paint that we sent along and a small paintbrush to see how I like that. But my goal is to try and find the fastest and most efficient way to do it.
Shows off again. Mine are a little bit smaller than the sample or the eyes that you made with the paint marker.
And that's okay. I think mine are maybe the same size.
So ours that much different? Oh, not really.
Okay, so while we wait for the eyes to kind of dry, why don't we go ahead and glue on our gourd to our base? Okay. So you'll want to get that Q-tip out again. If it's like tacked up, don't worry about that. Just dip it right into the glue. It'll be a-okay. Just don't bump your eyes. And I just am going to put a ring of glue on the inside of that cutout. Now, the cutout of that gourd is going to be very thin. So if you can't completely get it on the inside, I wouldn't worry about it too much. But just try and get it more on the inside.
So do you mean like the inside like here or
No.
this?
Yes.
Just that edge. Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like I should be a professional at these. Now, would you use, working on these in our production, would you use tacky glue or is there a different glue that you would use?
To glue these bases on, I definitely use tacky in production. Now, and we use the same glue that we actually send along to you guys. It's Eileen's tacky glue. And so I just use it out of the bottle that it actually comes in. And I just cut the tip of the bottle very small so that I can get a small ring of glue right around the inside of that.
Yeah, so we provide it to you in this little paint pot, but you can buy it at Walmart, Amazon, Michael's, Hobby Lobby.
And that's all the glue that we'll need for these. So you can, once you get that glue, and when you go to glue it down on whatever side you painted, make sure that's up and just stick that right down on. And I just made mine even the whole way around, as even as possible. But other than that, there's no front or back of the little base there.
I had to adjust mine a little bit, so I think I can just wipe off the excess glue, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
you can. But if it's really minute, I think like I have a little, very little rim here, which I'd show you, but I don't really think you'll see it. Because it's so little. So
But that'll be fine. Okay.
yeah, I think that'll be totally fine. You could also take the back of your glue Q-tip and kind of run it. Just be careful you don't like scratch up the paint.
Okay.
Eyes are still drying.
Mhm.
So why don't we go ahead and do the mouth on these? And then, because the last thing that we need to do on the eyes is just that little fleck. So with us doing the mouth first, with what we have, make sure you still save your glue Q-tip. So just set it to the side, save it, because we're going to use the back of that one for the white. Yes. I think that'll just be easier. Okay. So the mouth. There, will be easier if you have a, like I said, a marker. But with what you have, we will use the back of this Q-tip, and we're going to dip one side of this into our black paint, and we're going to use just that side to draw a line. Now, with that, it's not going to completely make the whole entire line. So what I would do is I would do it in stages. I would take it, put some glue on there, draw a little bit, and then dip again. Draw a little bit and dip again. Or you can go and do the whole line and go back and do that. The placement on the mouth here is it starts on the inside of, if you're looking at it, that left eye on the inside, and it goes to the outside of this eye. So inside of this eye, outside of this eye. It's like a crooked, smirky type.
Well, that's the beauty of it. We can't mess it up too badly because
No.
it's already like a little
Yes.
quirky smile, right?
Yes.
All right. Well, let's do it. Just so you can maybe hopefully get it without the glare there for you.
Perfect. And it does have the little like, I don't know what you
Smile lines?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Amber, you're really challenging me today.
Yes, like I said, just the very edge is what I would dip into that paint.
Okay.
And I'm actually going to, because I don't want a thick line. So I'm going to turn my gourd with the end of the stick so that it won't like be a super thick line.
So can you show me what that?
So to do, instead of holding it like this and just drawing, it's going to make a thick line. So I would turn it like this and draw just that first portion and then turn it back over to continue to do the other side. So
Do you recommend starting the smile line first on like on the inner left, or starting with this actual smile?
Yes, I would start on the inner side of our left eye here and then go to the outside of our right eye as you're looking
the
at it.
actual smile, not the
Actual
smile
smile.
lines. Okay.
You got it. I have just found that's just way easier.
Oh, this works pretty good. I
Yeah.
like it. Okay. And guess it's whatever I want it to look like is fine.
Yeah, and you'll see as you're like dipping and putting it back that it'll get like the end of where you stopped will be thinner than where you start. So what we're gonna do is just keep going, and then you'll just go back and kind of touch it up. So it's a even line. Sorry, I keep yawning.
She's pregnant. When are you due, Amber?
September 3rd. So I'm 7 months pregnant right now.
Oh boy. So if you do Zoom classes with us in September and October, we won't have our Amber.
Yes.
Is it okay to start working on our little smile lines as well? If we can do that.
Oh yeah. Yep. If you're ready to do those, absolutely.
I don't mind a little thick, so just can I wipe it off with a baby wipe or paper towel?
Yep.
Let's clean it up. All right.
And as you're painting, or I guess painting, as you're drawing this mouth, you can see when you like drag it over, it kind of takes some of that paint away. What I am doing is I actually am dipping that corner of the back of this, and I'm just like dabbing some paint to cover that. And yeah, this is not turning out too bad.
Yeah, I actually really like it.
Yeah. Ew.
I finished mine.
There we go.
Ah, and I like that their little personalities are coming through now.
Yeah. Okay, and by now I think our eyes are good and dry.
Okay.
And so we can grab our next Q-tip end or back of it. And it's going to be kind of the same thing. We're just going to dip the very edge of the back of it, and we're just going to make one line. It's going to be the same side on both sides, and it's going to be the right side. And when we do little flecks, it's normally at like 2 o'clock, but these are a little longer, so it's going to be from like 1 to 3. If you're looking at it. Actually, I want to see something. So I like broke mine in half. And it gave me like a thinner surface. So see if you guys, it could just been my luck.
Yeah, mine didn't get there. So.
Okay. So that's an option if you want to try it.
Yeah, if you want to try. But yeah, we would use something like this or a Q-tip to do, or not a Q-tip. This is a Q-tip, a toothpick.
Yes.
To do this sort of thing. So you are using something that we would use. Just make sure you're using the edge, right?
Right.
Excuse me.
And you can absolutely, I didn't even mention that. If you have a toothpick at home, absolutely, you could use that as well.
If you don't want it to be as thick. Okay.
Yep. Should have done this for the mouth. That worked out pretty good.
Actually, I'm having really, this is nice and easy.
Ooh,
Much easier than I thought.
yeah, yours are perfect. Yeah.
Oh, we did ours on the opposite.
And that's okay. I like that we did that because then it just shows you like the different personalities. So yeah. And that's all we do to these.
Wow, they're super cute.
Yeah. Does anybody have any questions?
Okay. If you don't, right now, you are always welcome, like I said before, to email us. You can email Dory, who emailed you this link, and that will email out the video to you. Or you can reach out to us on Facebook. You can send emails to our website, Instagram. Either Dory or I get all of those messages, and we would be happy to help you. And we oftentimes get asked if, now this is a latex paint, so it already has a sheen to it. But if you wanted to cover it in something or put a sealant on it, what you would use, and this is what we use. So I did bring that along so you can see, and it's just the Minwax polyacrylic. We use polyacrylic because it doesn't yellow over time. So if for some reason you wanted to, preserve the base and just give it a nice coat of a sealant, this is what we would recommend, but you could use whatever you have
Mhm.
at home.
Yeah, and with this piece, like Emily said about the yellowing, we normally have to watch out for that with our white.
Mhm.
But since this piece isn't really white and it's just the eyes, I think it would be safe to just go ahead and use whatever.
Yeah, whatever you have.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I hope that you all had fun like I did. I'm actually I was nervous doing this because like I said, I'm making this as a gift and I'm happy with it. So that's good job teaching me, Amber.
Thank you. Thank
I'm
you.
a challenging student. So, yeah, we hope you had fun and we hope to see you for one of our next classes coming up soon. All right. Bye guys. Have a good night.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
Bye, Sarah.
Welcome.